welcome to the Webcast for Monday, November 17th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. It's another cloudy start to the day in most areas, and we have plenty of rain out there as well as this very wet November pattern continues. Here's a look at the current radar. We haven't even fully gotten rid of the storm that affected us this weekend as some upslope-driven shower activity continues across the Southern California mountains. But now the next storm is already bearing down on us with steady rain pushing through the Central Coast and into the Sierra as well. In terms of the rain we've received so far, the numbers are pretty extraordinary, especially by November standards. Note the scale down at the bottom of the map here. Most areas have received about 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, though some localized areas saw quite a bit more, especially across some of the Santa Barbara and Ventura County mountains, where localized totals have exceeded 10 inches. Some of those areas have already seen over half of their average seasonal rainfall, even more in some cases when combined with the storm back in October. And while there were some localized flooding issues, we generally escaped major flooding impacts, and by and large, this has been an overwhelmingly beneficial storm for our region. There really is no end in sight to the wet pattern. The storm system currently moving in will continue to bring rain and isolated thunderstorms to the region all the way through Tuesday night, with the focus of steadiest activity gradually pushing from northwest to southeast with time. Rainfall totals with this current storm will be in the light to moderate range overall, generally falling well below what we've seen recently, but still a respectable storm, especially by November standards. Most locations will receive between 1/2 and 2 inches of additional rainfall through Tuesday night, a little less in some desert areas and locally over 2 inches across the Sierra. This is also a considerably colder system than the last one. The snow level will be dropping to around 6,000 feet today and will remain there through the rest of this week. Heavy mountain snowfall is expected, especially across the Sierra where there is more precipitation to work with, but even the higher SoCal mountains will see several inches to a foot or more of new snowfall. Southeast to southwest winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts to 40 miles per hour will surface across the mountain ridges and desert passes through this evening as the storm moves in. Winds will then become fairly light overall through at least Wednesday or Thursday. And again, this unsettled pattern is far from over. A brief break of mostly dry weather is likely from Wednesday into early Thursday, but another storm will then affect the region with additional widespread rainfall for much of Thursday and Friday, with shower activity potentially continuing through much of the upcoming weekend, especially over Southern California. There is some uncertainty in the track of that next storm, so the weekend forecast in particular is a little more uncertain. There is some potential we could start to dry out, but that may have to wait until next week. Rainfall totals with that later week storm look light to moderate overall. Currently, Southern California is favored for the highest totals, potentially an additional 1 to 2 inches, but again, more to come on that once it gets a little closer. The other big story this week will be the temperatures. Temperatures will be well below normal through the end of this week and probably into the weekend as well. Here's a look at today's forecast highs, and overall we won't see much change for the next several days. Highs will be mainly in the mid-50s to mid-60s in the valleys and high desert, with upper 30s and 40s in the lower mountains. Humidity will remain very high in most cases. To no surprise, significant fire potential will be non-existent through this forecast period, and all classes of fuel moisture, both dead and live, will be on sharp rising trends. We should see a robust grass crop fill in across the region in the days and weeks ahead, especially once we finally get some sunshine to return to the region and our vegetation can start to take better advantage of all this moisture now trapped in the soil. Even if our weather pattern does trend drier in the weeks and months ahead, it is very likely that significant fire potential will remain negligible all the way up until grass curing season in the late spring of 2026. Certainly a welcome reprieve after last winter. With all the rain, the Predictive Services staff here at South Ops has now entered our low-season staffing posture. We remain available every day for on-demand weather support, but this webcast will now be only produced on non-holiday Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays until late next spring. With that, that's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Wednesday, November 19th.